You want to wish the kids Happy New Year?
Oh yeah, Happy New Year, everyone.
Time to do a little cleaning this week. As you see, I will have emptied out my van and we'll take a look at what we need to do. So I've taken the front seat out of the van and I've emptied my cabinets and whatnot in there. So most of what I have in the van is out of the van, although there's a few things I already know where it's going to go, the only places it can be. But my cabinets are clean and empty, and now I need to figure out where everything's going to go back and what's going to go into longer term storage for the winter and what I'm going to need for the next few months. And all this foolishness here came out of the van and it's got to find places back in the van. So we're going to do some organizing this week as kind of a New Year's cleaning.
Well, welcome back to the channel, everybody. This video I just wanted to make is kind of a year in review for me, just as in my vlogs. What happened this year, and then looking forward into the next year. So, Happy New Year, everybody. It is
Oh yeah, Happy New Year, everyone.
the first day of 2026, and we can all celebrate that we made it through 2025. This year has been challenging in many, many ways for a lot of us and a lot of people. So we can take comfort in knowing that as things change, things also keep moving forward. And so today I want to look forward a little bit into some plans, talk a little bit about my plans for in the next year, in the coming weeks and months ahead, and what they might look like. Maybe when I look back on this next year, we'll go, well, that didn't happen the way it was supposed to, but that that is life for you. So let's start with last year. So in the last year, the early part of last year, I was serving a Christian ministry that worked with men suffering from addiction in a sober living home. So, a friend of mine and I developed a program to help men through addiction and to find spiritual peace in their changes. And it was part of a ministry that had bought and renovated a former building that was renovated back into a home. And so for the first year, I basically hung out in my van, watching the construction and making sure nothing was insecure and making sure that things were still okay on the property. And then afterwards, I lived in the home with the men, working kind of as a chaplain for them as we started to fill the home with guys. So that was my year. In May of last year, I left that job to come up here to Tucson. My mom had broken her hip in February of that year and spent about 4 months in the hospital from the consequences of um, the the healing process as she's older, plus also various complications in her health, infections and whatnot. She spent 4 months in the hospital, and that probably took 10 years off her life, honestly. Um, she was in a very bad state, and so I left that job and got back in my van and came down here to Tucson to bring her home on home hospice care, not really knowing how much time she had or what was going on with her. And as she strengthened and started to heal at home, things started to stabilize, and she's in a bit more of a stable place, so it's still declining. Um, but I was able to also extend my other job, which is teaching, through the fall and be able to do that online so I could stay up here. Well, in order to keep my residency and my credentials and whatnot, I do have to go back to Colorado now for the next semester and teach on ground. And so I'm going back to the community college where I teach up in Fort Collins, and will be teaching a couple classes and doing some other work up there through the next semester. And my thought is that I'll probably head back down here in the summertime again, kind of the reverse snowbird thing, where instead of being down here during the cool season, like most people who are trying to find good weather, I actually have to kind of come down here during the hot season, and then in the cold season, I have to be up where it's cold. So it's going to be an interesting challenge every year. The weather throws you all kinds of curveballs. But I also have to kind of relearn van life in 2026 in very many ways. So, as you've seen on my channel, I've been renovating and getting the van ready to go and to live in for the next few months, and back on the streets and parks in northern Colorado between classes. So I will be doing that and working however else I can. I have a few other plans for my work life, like doing a online store selling some graphic design T-shirts and things and stuff, doing kind of a print on demand thing, and then as many of you actually do, and also maybe making some apps. I've been working on releasing a few apps and seeing where that goes. So it's going to be kind of an interesting year of searching for what works and what doesn't. Again, that's been most of my life for the last few years anyway. So that's not all that unusual, really. But it just each year things change more and more. So that is what my year ahead looks like here in going from Tucson to northern Colorado and hanging out there, and then teaching and working, and then coming back down here in the summer to continue my mom's care. My mom will be in the care of my brother who lives nearby as well while I'm here, so there'll be eyes on her and help here for her. Although I have hospice and some medical training, and so in a past life and iteration, I had worked in hospice. I originally worked as a nursing home, a nurse's assistant for a couple of years, and then went into the when I was in seminary, and then became a hospice chaplain for 11 years and worked in hospice and the hospitals as a trauma chaplain. And then that got to be too much in 2018. But this being with my mom has really underscored the importance of those years of being with people in transition from life to death and caring for them. So um, she's in good hands, though I'll need to be kind of on guard and watching to see how she does and help her make the medical decisions for her and for my brother, and supporting them however I can from a distance, which is challenging for sure. But well, we don't know what'll really come of that. Um, you have to be prepared also for maybe another trip or two in the middle of things to kind of help out if needed, if there's an emergency or something. But in the meantime, we don't know. We don't know what we don't know about 2026. So this week, has been a quiet week. Last week was a quiet week. The week of the holidays is kind of one of those liminal spaces in the season where you're waiting and reflecting and watching and trying to think about what things are going to happen in the next year, and the hope that next year will be a better one. Don't really have personally much of those types of hopes per se. I don't, necessarily hope for a better year or a more prosperous year than the prior one, because every year is different. And as I'm 57 years old and pretty much in my tech background, pretty much unemployable due to my age. That's a whole nother story that I may talk about at some point. But, um, you know, my lifestyle allows me a lot of flexibility, and so that is the freedom that a lot of us seek. But a lot of times, it also has to be balanced by responsibilities. You know, I have to take care of my mom, you know, as her oldest son, and do those things as well as support my family as best I can, and do that in ways where my financial prospects seem to be very limited. And so the next year will be full of those challenges, I'm sure. Everything from just trying to find safe, good places to be with the van, but also find some stability, reconnect with my community back home, and do the day to day things that this van life really brings into stark contrast for most of us. We have to uh, focus on these small things, and they make a big difference. Anyway, so that is the way forward, it looks like. So we will see. But the way backwards is this looking back on the year has certainly been plenty of challenges in the past year, um, and another new change. So that's life. It changes on you a lot. It's almost like being retired. Retired. I love that word. It can either mean taking a break from your career, or taking or putting that past behind you as a working, corporate type, or it can mean finding things to make you tired all over again. That's kind of retired. Or for me as a van lifer, it really tends to mean I get new tires in the car on the van, which I did last week. I retired my car. I put new tires on it. So the word is funny to me. I think this life is just living life. And this channel really is my vlog. It is a way of documenting that, and for whatever reasons, as a kind of a journal. And today, kind of a free form journal. But yeah, who knows what the next year will bring? I'm sure we'll have plenty of shocks, plenty of events, plenty of things that will create plenty of distractions. But again, this life tends to focus you very much on what's really necessary and what's needed. But anyway, well, thanks for tuning in today. A short little video, just kind of a reflection, and a happy new year to all of you out there.
Oh yeah, Happy New Year, everyone.
And be sure to like and subscribe as I try to build out this content. I'll put some travel content in there and some other things as I am going to transition here from my mom's house to a van and relearning this van life all over again. So we'll see you in the next one.